Good morning, you guys. It's John here. We have some projects to do today, but we are hanging out in the container garden this morning, and look how beautiful this looks. This looks so pretty. We got rid of quite a few things, but some things are still looking really, really good. It's still warm out, so these celosias are really, really thriving. The dragon's breath celosia, the marigolds, all of the ornamental peppers, I feel like are just now hitting their stride. Look how pretty there is. They are. Hi, Renly. Hi. Yeah, you want to say hi? You want to say hi? Yeah, he does. Alternate is looking really good. Everything looks so good in this garden. And like I did mention, we got rid of some coxcombs in here because they were looking kind of tired, especially after that big rainstorm we had earlier this month. I think they just got way too wet. And they were just fizzling out. So we did take them out. I'll show you guys some that we still have over on this stair step bench. We have a few over here, as you can see. See, this is kind of what they looked like. The leaves were dying. I think they just got a little too much water earlier in the season, but they still look pretty good, even without their leaves. But these are the peppers. I love how they look with the Calabricoa. This is this variety is called Dracula. Love this color for fall. Super pretty. We have an apricot one, a blue one. We kind of had a thrip issue, but now that it's cooling off, the thrips are kind of going away. So they are starting to bloom quite a bit now. So today's project is we are pruning our Lisianthus. Hi, Brittany. He's going to help us a lot. So our Lisianthus were blooming all summer, and now it is cooling off. They are totally done blooming. They're going to sit dormant all winter. So we're going to clean up these plants because they can last quite a few years. They last like 3 to 5 years here in our Zone 9B garden. We still have all of them in containers. So I'll show you guys what that looks like and what the process of cutting them back looks like. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff on the side of our house right now. We have some hibiscus over here that we moved to get a little bit more sun, but these are all the Lisianthus that are ready to get trimmed back. Now, we didn't really give them any trimming over the summertime. We did a little bit. We did some deadheading, but they are definitely due for a hard trim. There's some dead leaves, and we just got to clean some stuff up. As you guys can see, there's some new growth coming out of the bottom of the plants, so we're going to save all of that. We're just going to clean up the plants, remove the peony cages, and make this a little bit more tidier. This is where they'll stay all winter long in their containers. And we did, a little side note, we did pot up a ton of cyclamen. Look how pretty these are. These are going to be really cute all winter. I love these flowers in these small little pots in front of our kitchen window. We went with more of like a pastel mix this year. Hi, Rosie. Okay, so first step is taking off the peony cage. This was our support system the entire summer to keep the stems upright. I love using peony cages because the shape of the cage, the circular shape, is the same size as the container. So it makes it a really seamless transition that you can't really see the support too much. So these are our stalks that were blooming earlier this year. You can see the new growth coming out of the base here. And then this is the old stem. So all we're gonna do is trim this stem close to the base here, and it's going to tidy this plant up quite a bit. So all of these are going to be new shoots next year. This is going to be a stem, that's going to be a stem, that's going to be a stem. So we'll get a lot more stems next year out of this plant. And it will be absolutely flush and full. This one is a first year planted one, so typically they bloom pretty good their first year, but the second year is always so much more lush and full. So that's why we always try to keep the Lisianthus for the second year and protect them over the winter. Really, there's not much to do over the winter time besides just keeping them watered, but we don't like to keep them too wet. That's one of the perks of keeping them in containers is that they can dry out in between watering. So we're gonna monitor this. We'll probably water it every 3 to 4 days. If we get like a cooler spell, we'll probably back off on watering. And that's really it. We don't do much. We'll start fertilizing them around, hi Rosie, around, like in February, probably around Valentine's Day, we'll give them a good liquid feed, and then they'll put on some growth, and then they'll start really growing in like March and April, and then they typically bloom for us in June. But as you can see, we placed these really close together. They're about 3 to 4 inches apart in the container, and that way you're gonna get a really full container right off the bat. They don't need a lot of space. They don't get too wide. They just get tall. So I just would recommend supporting them. But other than that, you you can plant them pretty close together. Okay, we just cleaned up this one. Look how beautiful it looks now. It just makes the plant look so much more tidier. I love how succulent these leaves are. They're just really pretty. This like blue-green color is just absolutely gorgeous. So these will sit here again all winter. They'll just chill, and then they will be blooming in the springtime, like late spring into like probably like June is when our second season Lisianthus will be blooming. Our first year planted Lisianthus typically blooms in July. So we always plant new ones every single year so that we have some in June and July, and then we kind of cut them back and then they'll flush back out all summer long. This one is called a Rosa Champagne. This one was a really pretty champagne color earlier on this summer. We grew some apricot ones, some red ones. Those get a little bit bleached out, so they're looking more like magenta. We have some gold ones, just so many colors that are just so pretty. We filled the entire container garden with them last year. The entire garden was just filled with Lisianthus for 2 months. It was just absolutely beautiful. We did tech on other things, obviously, but Lisianthus are definitely the stars of our summer garden. So we make sure we plant some every single season. This was munching on these sticks when we were trimming up these Lisianthus. Yeah, she loves chewing her sticks. Okay, so we also wanted to give you guys an update on the Ranunculus and the anemones. We planted them up just over 2 weeks ago, and they are looking so good. We've had some really good success on them, so I'll show you guys kind of what that looks like. We planted up these butterflies a little bit later than the other ones, so they are just now starting to kind of put on some roots. I don't see any signs of sprouting just yet, but we just planted these probably like 4 or 5 days ago, so I'll definitely keep you guys updated on those. But all of the other ranunculus look so good, you guys. Like, this is what all of them look like right now. So we pre-sprouted them, like soaked the corms, and then put them in these trays, and look how beautiful these roots are. Now, you don't have to put them in the trays per se, but we love putting them in these cells because they just dry out so quickly, and that's really what we want. We don't want these corms sitting in water. Putting them in really good seed starting medium helps them dry out super fast and develop a root system. These corms do not have roots when you first plant them, so it's really important that they develop a root system before you give them a lot of watering. So letting them dry out in between watering is key to a successful ranunculus and an anemone crop, really. So this is 2 weeks later. Really, we could have planted these, gosh, about a week ago when the roots developed, but we're gonna plant these in our crates. We did a full bulb crate garden last year, and we're gonna do that again because it was so fun to have on the side of our house. We don't have our cut flower field like we have in years past, so having a crate garden, hi Rennie, yeah, did you like talking about ranunculus? Is gonna be so nice to have on the side of our house. So anyways, we have ranunculus, we have anemones. I'll show you guys what the anemones look like too. This is kind of what those look like. Look at that. And these roots are much darker, but they are just popping up these leaves, and they're going to be growing for us in no time. We did pot up a lot of the butterflies in bigger containers because the roots are much bigger on the butterfly ranunculus. So we put them in 4-inch containers as well as these like 2.5-inch containers, and these will all grow out very, very shortly. This is where we put the crate garden last year, was on these wood planks with the cinder blocks right here on the side of our home. We have tons of seedlings obviously on them right now. We have snapdragons and primroses and violas, just tons of fun goodies that we'll be potting up into our gardens, our clients' gardens. But once these are cleared away, we will be putting our crate garden on this bench, which is basically just a old bulb crate that we use, lined with some really cheap landscape fabric and filled with soil, and then we'll grow them throughout the entire winter. We don't really use the crate garden in the summertime just because it's too hot, but it's perfect to add into our winter garden where we just want a pop of color, especially on the side of our house where we can't necessarily grow in the ground because there's lots of rocks. It's a really easy way to grow some beautiful cut flowers. But anyways, we'll definitely keep you guys updated and show you guys that whole process when we start that. But I can't wait for all of these beautiful flowers, you guys. We have so many primroses. We went crazy on primroses this spring. We have like 4 or 5 different varieties this year, and I am so excited to show you guys those as well. I'll show you guys all the primroses that we're planting up when it's time to do so. We just ran out of pots So when we start cycling out some older things like some coxcombs in the garden, we'll start planting them all with some beautiful primroses. Okay, so this is the before of all the Lisianthus. We're gonna trim up the rest of them and then we'll show you guys what they look like at the end. There is one Lisianthus bloom. Look how cute she is. She's really pretty. This is the arena apricot. So this is what they look like. Okay, so we just took the peony cage off of this one, and there was like 3 or 4 plants that ripped out too. There were a lot of dead plants in between these ones, so there's only 2 of them left. And so I'm just gonna compost this entire thing because this root zone is kind of not the best because this soil, you guys, is like, I don't know, at least 3 years old. It is really mucky, and really, this soil is not great. So we're just gonna compost the thing. It's gonna be really hard to save this. If I wanted to, I could definitely transport this into like a garden bed setting per se, but you could definitely do that too. But we're just gonna compost this and plant fresh ones in this pot and then stuff it full of beautiful plants. So this is kind of what happens over time, is the plants just they just fizzle out and the soil gets bad in the container. So eventually you will have to replace them, but this is kind of what that looks like. Okay, so this is what the root zone looks like here. There was a little bit of rot here and there wasn't a lot really left in here. So this is kind of when it's time to pull the plants. So like I said, they are short-lived perennials. Typically you'll get 3 to 5 years. I really expect 3 good years and maybe a 4th year out of them. But anyways, this is kind of towards the end of its life cycle. Okay, so this is what all the containers look like after we trim them all back. Some of them don't have a ton of growth coming out of the bottom, but that's okay. They will come, they will start to grow out later on this winter. We did clear out some of the pots that were kind of fizzling out, so we're going to replace them with Lisianthus later on next year. But anyways, you guys, this is what they look like. They look so much better and tidier. They're going to sit here all winter long, like I mentioned before, and then they'll bloom for us next year. So we will have all of our Lisianthus plugs available for shipping this March and April, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Right now, we have all of our fall plugs available for shipping. They're shipping out tomorrow on Wednesday, November 12th. We also have a ton of Ranunculus and anemone corbs still available on our website. I'll leave the link for that down below for you guys. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.